Is it good now, guys? Okay. Man, that's so balls. It deleted everything that I was saying. It's in my tutorial, but I still needed that to be verbalized a bit so people can hear it. Oh man, that just sucks. Okay, so where was I? It's okay. Keep moving forward, as Mr. whatever his name is says. Alright, so this is how I apply the under shadow redness. I get the red, I dab it over the shadows, I use the drop tool while it's mixed in with the shadow, so drop in a little bit of shadow, and now I have a reddish looking brown. And it's mixed in, there's blood in there without deleting the tone or the values. So I've got good values here, and just to make the cheekbones a little less prominent, I just move them down, and this is now my base shadow for the face. It's a very good base. It's very bloody, very it looks very close to flesh shadows, and I'm satisfied with it, and so I stop here, and then I continue. I go back with the under the light red, and then I start playing with it. I get that shadow, that redness again, and apply it under the eyes just to give the eyes a little more contour. I figure out where the eyebrows are and draw them. The eyebrows have have also contours, so the brow bone would also stick out. So wherever there's no hair, light reaches it. So there's always that beautiful, feminine arch, and also very masculine as well if you play with the thickness. And then after I draw this face, I'm going to show you how to transform this into a more masculine looking shape. Masculine looking face. So you have the eyes, you have the eyebrow bones sticking out. Simple things like increasing the arch of the eyebrow changes the attitude of the face completely. This face says a lot. So are you guys good right now? Any questions at all? So I don't want her to have so much attitude, so I'm just going to take it down a bit. Give it a little more softness. Any questions? Any concerns? Any confusions? How did I do this? Why would you do that? Stuff like that. Those questions are always about. So right now I'm just sharpening the shapes, the values, finding out where I want to keep the lips, if I want the lips that dark, if I want to darken them a little with the red. Lips usually are very transparent, so the blood comes out and shows out through a little better. Remember, I haven't applied the purples yet. The purplish blue, I haven't applied it. That's why it looks a bit stale and unrealistic right now. And then, because the eye shape is a bit whiter. Sorry, I'm gonna just, lighten up. I liked how she was squinting. It looked very elegant, so I'm just gonna reinforce the squint again. Get the shadows. Remember, if you draw faces of women, you're gonna have to know the general universal the general universal image of what beautiful is, and usually women, their beauty has a lot to do with their eyes, and nicely, especially thinking about the way the famous, more famous stereotypes is that Arabian women have a more appealing, more lustrous looking eye profile is because of the dreamy eyeshadow going on, the darkness, the mystery involved, making your eyes look mysterious, a little more hooded. So you just apply the dark. Outlining the eyes accentuates not only the eye color, but it accentuates the shape. So a more squinty shape, squinty, trying to hide the beauty of the blues, is so directly appealing. It just pulls the person right in. It doesn't matter, and it has everything to do with the eyes. I spend so much time drawing eyes because I know that the eyes, and I've been told, the eyes are the soul of the picture. Portraiture is a very singular. It stands on its own. isn't shit. I'm shit, eh? I'm shit, not full. The eyes are really important, and portraiture stands on its own as a genre of art. So it's really, really important for you guys to know that portraiture depends a lot on eyes. And if you don't, then, if you don't work on learning the different kinds of eyes, what different kinds of eyes can do for you, then you'll lose a lot in your portraits. It's very important. So back to the eyes, back to the skin. Remember this blush color right here? This very, very important color. This color is what I always go back to draw the most important, I think the most important part of drawing a realistic eye is the waterline. It creates the illusion not only that the eye is touchable and real and 3D, but it gives it that very, very mysterious and lifelike, like the picture, if it wanted to cry it would, kind of thing. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. It's really important to remember that little detail. It makes the eyes pop out, and it's so important. I mean, compare it. Imagine you didn't use it. Imagine I just didn't bother using it. Look at the difference, without the shadows and stuff. Look at that difference just in just the structure of the eye. Look at how it looked before and with the waterline. She just smiles at you. It just looks back at you, and you already figured out her face. She's got a gentle little, Mona Lisa mysterious smile hidden behind. And you're already creating art. Your picture already looks, realistic. And then you start to know what you want to add on her face. I added a little bit of a gentle, feminine little bend in her lips, right where her lips meet. If you look at a lot of famous comic pictures, the most important part that's accentuated is the corners of the lips. They're very important to always keep those as dark as you possibly can. It makes the lips look fuller. It makes them look a little more feminine, and you can, by the simple change of that shadow, you can make her smiling or frowning or just plain neutral. And neutral, it's not boring. It has its own benefits. So just rush that under shadow redness over the lips to give them a more shine. Reinforce the lights near the lip corners, because remember they stick out as well. Get that nice beautiful light color that just keeps reinforcing your picture, and you keep recreating the contours as you go. You sharpen them out. Get that shadow color, recreate the nose, because sometimes you lose it in the painting, so you have to reinforce them. Recreate the nostrils. These are a bit too light, but I'll go over them. I maybe want to keep them that light. And remember, the eye is a circle. So circles, when there's a light, there's shadows on the circle near the bottom. So remember that the eye itself, the eyeball, has shadows as well. So there's shadows here. And I leave the iris, the eyeball, whatever that little eye place where the light is, or the color is, I leave that to the very end. I want to make sure that when the moment comes where I have to draw the iris, I want it to be welcomed. Get it? I want the face of what I've done so far to welcome it well. I want a good home for this a good house, a good structure on which the eyes will settle. I don't go in straight away. I'm very delicate with that. I'm very picky too. I try to just delay it as much as possible before I put in the eyes. That's why they look a bit mirrored sometimes in my drawings, and I like that effect. It makes them look more dreamy. So now, just recreate. It's all a matter of recreating and working with these colors. I have not introduced any color other than these colors. So this is just what these colors have established for me. I haven't even put in the blues. So it's not even really that realistic yet. Yes, not full. Okay, cheek lines. Go ahead. By the nose. So we're talking these. How you get older. They're more prominent. Oh, these like this. From older looking smile lines. Yeah. Like wrinkles from smiles. So it's just a matter of placing your shadows in the right place. Okay, so let's pretend she's getting older, and we'll do it right now. So get the shadow color, not the one that you pre-made, one that's already on the face. So you're not going outside of the palette of the face you already established. Find where you want to mix that. It's never going to get darker than the face, and it's never going to get darker to where it's around. So you have to introduce it well into the face. It's not going to be dark all around because remember, it's a contour. So you have to remember the contour lines. Always remember the contour. They're going to be very fine contour lines when it comes to this smile line. Just let me fix the nose. I like the way the nose looks right now. I'm so mad. I really did lose the beginning. Okay, and then they usually lead from the nose downward, so the light is going to hit them sharp from where the light hits the cheeks. And then they're going to merge into the skin around them, because right now she looks like she drew them on, but they don't look like they're natural. And then what happens is the light moves with the smile lines. So you have, because they protrude. So the light comes out, and you have these little contours around the nose. And then the shadow decreases a bit, so that it looks more fine and more feminine. And she doesn't look that old. And then fix those. And then just keep merging it, and you have smile lines now. It's all about the cheekbones and the shadows. Once you go in with a bit of shading, you know where to put in the dimples, or the age dimples. You know where to put in the rest of the face, how it droops down. The rest of the cheekbones also represent age. You know that there's wrinkles on the eyes that also move down. So remember, when you age, it's a downward movement. So all the flesh that was up here and beautiful and perky has moved down. So now it is aged, and now everything is on top of each other, and it's just moving together. You know that the lips also have a certain, stage of downward moving. They overlap each other. So then you have lines on the lips, and then you have a downward movement of the eye flesh. So then you have it overlapping each other. So if there's contours, they would be like this. They're falling with the... Does everyone get what I mean when I say contour lines and grid lines? Do you guys know what I mean? Like if you slapped a couple of grid lines on the face, they would move with the face. Everyone's good with that, right? So no one has a problem with understanding that? Because not everybody's done, it makes complete sense. Okay, well that's good. Alright, so remember, it's just a downward movement, exactly gravity. I can never do this right. Some would have a little bit, it looks nice, and I always make them look old. Nose fetish, they like that. Caps. Gravity. Yes. So yes, it's a downward movement, and you just have to work with the flesh if you drew the grid lines on. Remember, you never leave it like this. You never just leave it with a couple lines that you drew. Always work around with the color palette already there inside the face, the palette in here. Not this palette. I'm talking about this palette. I'm talking about this palette, not this palette. Okay. Reinforce the colors, the lights. Don't forget, you still have values to keep up. You have this, and there you go. She looks old now. Remember, it's not a line, it's shadows. It's not a line. That's why people get confused. They think it's a line. Okay, I'm just going to draw a line. And then it looks not real. It looks like cartoons. But because you're working realistically, and realistically I think is the best kind, it's the hardest kind, and it's the one that takes the most skill. It's the one that takes the most skill. So I really recommend you guys increase your skill level with realism, and then you can go back to your sketches, and your sketches are going to have a hint of realism in it, which makes them that much more, real, that much more believable. And yes, so it's all a matter of shading, it's all a matter of light, it's all a matter of contours. Those three are just, you know, my motto. Yeah, just contours, lighting, and shading. Those help you determine any kind of face, make it any kind of, see here, I have these lines. I'm just going to put in some lighting. It's going to accentuate them, bring them out. And there's shading though, don't forget the shading. So they're not all the way light. And now she looks older. Then we have this bone structure moving downward. We want to lighten that a bit. And then we bring it down. So this is how our chick would look if she was old. Remember the shadows. Remember, when you move downward into the shadow towards the hairline, there is still light. There is still light right over top. Just a hint of it, not so much, but it's the reflection, light reflected from all around. But that place where the light meets this light, this area here is always darker. Because you have two light sources battling each other. Wherever you have two light sources battling each other, you're going to have a shadow line that's much darker. Because it's going to have the shadow from either light sources attacking itself. And you're going to have an increased shadow. So this area's shadow is increased. Blend it in. Remember to blend. Remember to, you know, take advantage of your brush. What can your brush do for you with a couple of strokes? Reinforce that shadow here. And this is how she would look if she was old. All a matter of contours, you guys. I'm not some face genius, and I haven't been taught. So why would I know all of this? It's because you look and that somebody told me. I have been taught. Somebody told me that it's all about the lighting, the contours of the face, where the face moves, and the shadows. And learning, you know, light sources, learning your primary colors, that's really important. And I cover all of that in the tutorial. You guys really should, like, you know, give it a second and read it over and over. It really speeds up your time. You're not going to spend 2 years like me working on just colors and wasting 2 years of your life, you know, where you could have just read it off a book and just memorized it in a month. It's really important. It's a nice little shortcut, and you haven't really, you know, wasted money trying to get that stuff off somebody and paying them to practice your own. You know, it's just a little bit of a boost. Sometimes we all need boosts. If you want to make her really old, keep going downward with the shadows. Remember that there's a shadow on the neck. And remember that there's a double chin. Beautiful old double chin. That works with the shadows. It doesn't fall too much near the neck, so there's not going to be so much shading. And then there is the light again. That's not a very good double chin. I'm sorry, I haven't painted a double chin in my life. Let me see if I can do it for you guys. So you see, then there's the eyebrow. I don't know what those are called, but they're just eyebrow creases. They have like a scientific name. It's really cool. Okay, she looks a bit angrier, more pissed off at the life she's lived, spending it being painted by me. She hates it. Furrows, I think, yeah. Well, that's Layman's term. Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's furrows. Excuse me. So yeah. So that's what you're saying. Like, you know, drawing those old. I mean, I think I made her look too old, but you can see that I went to the extreme and made her look too old. But that's just with lighting and shading. Do you get it? What you drew in the beginning, not too old though. Yeah, I know. But just remember that it's just lines. It's just lines that are later transformed into contours. But don't keep it as a line, because the line is very flat. It's not going to do anything for you. Drawing a line with a shadow color isn't enough. You have to work around it with the light and the contours. So let me see if I can go back to her when she was young in her good old days. Okay. Okay. Alright. She looks funny. Okay. So what was I talking about? Yes. The shadows on the eyes are very important. Take your time in drawing the iris. Contour. Keep contour, making it look sharper. It's really important to sharpen up your picture, knowing where to put shadows, where to not to put too much. You know, the eye has a significant amount of shadows in it compared to everything else, but you have to know not to put too much or else you'll overwhelm it and it won't look so... Yes, exactly. I feel like it could easily reverse her aging just by lightening the shadows and by layering lighter colors to make the lines finer. Yep. You just work around the contours and with your shadow and light color until you locate. You know, it's there, but you just have to find it until you locate your the shape you want. Okay, and then I like how these are working. Okay, I'm just gonna merge these together, give a little bit of a boost, you know, for the little bit of a kick for the cheekbones, make them look a little more fine. Not too much, that's a bit too much. When you get to a level where you are enjoying your position as the artist so much, you're gonna take each stroke seriously. You're not gonna take your time, you know, just playing with your strokes. You're gonna take each stroke seriously. That the Control Z tool is just your fingers are gonna be constantly. I'm happy that it makes sense. I feel like I'm not explaining enough. I feel like you guys are missing out on a lot. I hope I'm covering. You know. Sorry if my voice is breaking. I've been getting colds lately. And I just went outside and cleaned the car. It was so depressing. So much dirt. Yeah, locating your lines. Okay. So I don't want her to be too shadowed. So this, you know, little bit shadow I added here isn't as elegant and as delicate as I want it to be. So just a bit. Her brow shadows, just shadow them down a bit. Her right with the tips of her eyebrows, bring those out. See the shadow color that we found earlier? It's very, very nice. It's very delicate. It looks like hair. It looks like hair that's been touched by shadow, but also by light. It's very controlled. I like it. I can shape it, and I won't lose the color, and it'll merge with the colors beneath it, because I chose these colors respective to each other. And always choose colors that are harmonious with each other. Don't go around choosing a neon green because you want to put in, you know, a realistic green inside your thing. You have to choose a green within the periphery of the shadows inside the picture already. So this is portraiture, you guys. It's really delicate, and I think it's just my favorite of all, you know, of all things to draw. I love drawing faces because there's so much involved. There's so much to do. Our face is surfacing. Let me just save before Photoshop flips out on me. Face practice. Save. Okay. Alright, so we have a nice, you know, nice shadows, but the cheekbones seem a little bit, you know, a little bit down. Looks like we've painted the shadow on her face instead of actually having contours to work with. So get your shadow and just reinforce those contours. Refine them. Just put the shadow. No, don't just put the shade everywhere just to get it looking darker. Then you're just gonna have a darker looking thing. Put the shadow in places that are delicate. So here, I know that there's shadow here. So I'm gonna put it there. Find my red color. You know, don't miss out on your reds. And just put it where I know it's darker. Here, the light is most in opposition with the dark. And here, the dark is most in opposition with the light. So here is gonna be darker. It's a bit too dark. Here as well, right under the lips, right near the chin, and right under the chin. It's going to be most dark. But here I have these beautiful cheekbones, and they're very prominent. But there is a side, you know, you have to pay. Bye. Okay, and because the cheekbones stick out, there's going to be an actual set anatomy that you have to remember. The jawbone also works with the cheekbones. If the cheekbones are prominent, it means the jawbone is also prominent. It's just you know, a rule of thumb with faces. When you have really bony structures in the face, you're going to have a bony reaction throughout the entire face itself. So you're not just going to have bony cheekbones and everything else is going to be nice and soft and fleshy. Her face is very bony, as you can already tell. So her cheekbones and her you know, anything protruding, her brow bone is already sticking out, has a beautiful arch to it. And her cheekbones, they're going to be, and her jawbone, sorry, it's going to be as as bony. So a nice little a nice little light laid down, the little hint of shadow laid down to recreate the jawbone is really important. And look at that. It's already out. It's there. There's a jawbone, and she's real. Jawbone here, not too much. And then you have that. Get that shadow color again. This is a makeup-based shadow color, as you can see. It's starting to turn into a more makeup-ish color, so I don't think it would work here. So get your brown again, the one that you started with, and just reinforce that contour on the cheekbones. Of course, this is not her real face shape. It's a bit wide. So when we draw the hair, it'll just merge in with it. So don't worry if the face looks cylindrical, because if a girl woman's face like that was in real life, it wouldn't look very nice. It wouldn't look very proportionate. I'd say she swelled up. She had her wisdom teeth removed. So you just remember that, just shape out the chin, because the chin protrudes. You're gonna have to have a neck underneath it. The chin is very very cut clean. It's very crispy. So you're gonna just shape that out. But according to the hairlines and all that, it's gonna get covered up. So don't use it. It's good for transparency. If you want to paint the baby hair is a bit more transparent, leave this side. Even expand it. Even I'm just gonna shrink the size, so that you guys can see what I mean. Put the palette on a separate layer. I don't want it to get hidden. Go over here, erase some of this stuff. And this is what I do. I don't erase away at it until it looks perfectly precise. I want to keep some of that bleed. It's good for basing it for the head. And I usually just draw the head shape entirely with that. And then I know where to put my hair. I know what kind of tone her hair should be. The hair sometimes isn't the same tone as the skin, and the hair color is based off the skin, because what's underneath the hair color other than the scalp, and the scalp usually entertains a similar, not completely dissimilar, a similar skin tone. So I just keep that as a bleed to base everything off of. And now I have a nice looking shape, and I can work with it, do what I want with it. Just fix the nose. Where do I want to take this picture? Have I been hired? Has any specific details? Blue eyes, green eyes. I need to recreate those details for the customer, whoever I'm working for. And that's it. You know what you want. And if the person says her face, her cheekbones stick out a little bit, and you have a lot of freedom to play around with the creativity, but you also know how to create it. You know how to create that nose. You know how to create those cheekbones, because you know what it is. What's the basic formula behind drawing every single face? The contours. They're very important. See here, this area is very green compared to this area. That's because I put the shadow color right over the lightness color. When they mixed it, they don't mix the same. So now I have a nice greenish, realistic green around the eyes. And it just came out beautifully. So I just duplicate that, because she's got a little bit of dark circles or under eye bags under her eyes. Oh no, that was Noah. Yeah. All right. So down to the eyes. The eyes need way more contouring, because they have a little bit more to work with. So there's a little bit more light here in the sharper areas. Remember, this entire time, what was I doing? I want to see if you guys are paying attention. I know you are, but that's just as a halfway question. What was I doing this entire time? What did I not do? I'm just gonna wait for you guys to say it. The entire time I did not do something until I only just started doing it. What was it? And I stressed it a lot in the previous lessons. You didn't get too detailed exactly. You were getting their basic form. Alright, but what did I do in order to achieve that, in order to make sure that I don't get too detailed? What stopped me from getting too detailed? Fufu? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Chichi? I did not. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a hint. I did not do this. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. You didn't zoom in. Okay, good. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to ask you hard questions here. Alright, I didn't zoom in. That made sure that everything at this vantage point was touched and taken care of. I didn't go too in. I didn't do, I didn't try to fix the eyes and start drawing the eyelashes and all that garbage. I just stayed and considered and took care of what I can from this vantage point. Getting, tying all the knots, making sure there's nothing left. So when I zoom in, I can trust it. I can trust that the values are there. I can trust that the picture is going a place where I want it to go. If you zoom in, you lose control. And once you lose control of your painting, you have no more ability to change it once you get too detailed. And getting too detailed is just not for you, and it's not for your benefit. So here's the moment of truth. We've been painting this whole time, but we have not done one thing. Can anybody tell me what that one thing is? I have not done one thing that I always tell you to do. One of the things that I tell you to do, I haven't done it yet. What is it? Not full, anybody? Control W, exactly. I didn't flip. There's the flip. Look, my eye's been really comfortable in this area. Really comfortable, very nice. Then, the moment of truth, then we flip it. Let me show you where my problems are when I paint. Let's draw a couple of horizontal lines. A little bit darker than that. Line here. Oops, line here. Oops, line right over here. So these are lines, and ew. These are lines, and these lines are like the basic face shape lines that every face is made up of. Remember those lines that you draw on the circle? This is my problem. When I paint, my face is always tilted. I like tilt my face to the side, so you can see that I don't notice that because I'm tilting. So in my eyes it looks like it's even, but what happens? The face, the features, everything is tilted over to the left because I'm tilted over my head to the right, so everything looks like it's set. So all I do right now is just even out the eyebrows, make sure the symmetry is okay. Okay, and these lines, these are in my head, these lines here. I kind of imagine them the same way I imagine the grid lines. Then I go in. Always do this self-check instead of having somebody else go and tell you your picture looks wrong. Always do this self-check yourself. Now I know what the problem is. I have my cheekbone, I have my brow arch here, but I don't have it here. So I'm just gonna go put that in. Even that out until I'm just satisfied with how it looks. There we go. Nope, not yet. Okay, the nose bridge seems a bit good. I like it. I like how it's set, but just the nostrils are a bit uneven. So I'm just gonna go fix it. If you guys want to save yourself the work, you just go on control. You just go on filter and liquefy, and then manipulate them. But I don't like doing that because I lose control and it kind of looks too alien for me. The controls are a bit uncontrollable. The lips are a bit off. Here you see a line, but you don't see, if you imagine the line, you see sometimes faces are a bit asymmetrical. That's nice. Because I'm just trying to teach you the basics here. The face has got to be asymmetrical for class's sake. The lips now are even. Then a little bit here. I need a little bit of lighting. Just, fix it a bit while I'm at it. Get that beautiful red in there. The chin, the cheekbones are a bit off. The chin seems pretty good. Just the cheekbone and the what's it called? The jawbones. So is everybody good? Do they know what I'm doing? There's nothing mysterious going on. Are there any mysteries, in your head, like how did she do that, or why did she choose that? Any questions? Nothing should be mysterious. Everything should be very simplified for you right now. If it's not, I failed you. So if there's any questions, anything that you missed out on. Okay, and the nose is fixed now. The eyes have a problem. One eye is a bit smaller, the other is a bit more fleshy. So I'm just gonna try eyeballing it and equaling them out. Because I'm at the flip of my original of my original angle, which was this way. Because I'm at the flip of it, I can paint and without worrying about losing out on my original like where I had the drawing before I flipped it, like the original flip, let's say the flip that I started with. So I can just paint and not worry about making mistakes again, because I'm just going to flip it back and then I'm going to fix those mistakes. And I usually keep, to be honest, I keep the flip version, because that way I don't make the mistake again. I keep the flip version and I flip back to the original where it was before. And then that's how I practice using my, the opposite side of my brain, instead of depending on the right one all the time and then making the mistakes and not knowing that I've made them, because my eyes are immune to that flip, so I don't really know that I'm doing that. Okay, and just get those lights in there from the reflections on the side. It seems a bit dark, so I'm just gonna get my pink color, this pink color right here, decrease the opacity and run it over. Let me just get rid of those lights. Okay, run it over here, get those reds back in there, get the under shadow redness and just run it over the lips, the cheekbones. The cheek should be a bit more red, and then the nose is always like a little bit more red. And then get the light source color, replace it on the nose. The nose is never this sharp, a nose is never this sharp on the sides, so we're going to have to soften that and just create that little nose bump to give her nose a little more cuteness. Remember the nostrils also protrude into the light, but not so much that her nose looks a little cylindrical. Let me just choose a smaller brush so I can get it in there. Her nostrils are uneven. The flip revealed to me that they are not, symmetrical with each other. So now I'm just going to fix the shadows. You also start noticing the way your colors work as well. You notice that some colors look wrong. So then you notice if the flip even reveals to you the colors that are out of place. So that shadow under the nose was it's a bit too alien. It didn't match the rest of the palette. So I'm just going to even it out, bring a couple of reds in there and fix it in. The nose, because there's light here, it's going to reflect on the bridge of the nose that goes downward between the nostrils. That area, just on standard portraiture, just to highlight that area. Whoops. Sorry, just going to get rid of that circle I drew. See that nostril here? It's a bit too on the side. And then get the light. The nose is a bit darker because it's like a dark area. Completely no light, so it would be much darker than anywhere else. Just increase the opacity, it's a bit dark. What's wrong? What's going on here? Whatever. I'm just gonna get that again. Yeah, there we go. Remember, the nostril isn't dark all around either, so it has contours as well. And some parts of the nostril aren't as dark as the other parts. The parts that are more outside tend to be more transparent, because if you stand in front of the sunlight, yeah, I haven't got to the eyes yet. Flipping it, yeah, you can. Put a mirror beside it. You can do it in real life. I used to do it in real life with a mirror on my monitor before I realized that you can flip it on Photoshop. Just get the mirror. Get a mirror, put it beside it, and you're gonna see. Yeah, I know, right? It's awesome. You can do it in real life. Of course you can. Fix the nostrils. Bring them down. I like them to be a little more circular. I don't want them to be flat. A little more contour here. Not so much lighting. Push the lighting up. Bring back that peachy nose color, and then get that light here and reflect it on the here. Again, on the here. So that little you know, that little space under your nose where the lighting should be, and then reinforce that little tip. And that's for the nose. That's before we get to the eyes. So the nose is on zoom, it's on flip, and we're fixing it. We're refining our features. You know, bring a little softness, reinforce that pink you put in. Remember, don't lose it. Use the drop tool. Don't neglect the drop tool, and don't neglect the Control Z tool. Make sure your strokes are as precise as possible. It'll teach you to be anal with your strokes, which is really important. Now it's to my favorite part, which is the eyes. I just go in and try to get the basic shape out first. Basic shape out symmetrically, which is the brow bone and the nose area. And then I got that, relatively even. Not eyes. Eyes, when they're asymmetrical, they look a bit elegant, so I don't spend too much time trying to make them exactly perfect, because we're not drawing a doll here. We're drawing a human being with flesh that has changed. So, eyes have redness too. So I'm just gonna lay that blush color, that under light color, over the eyes, and then just get that. They're transparent, so that's why there's blood there. But then they also reflect light a lot, so because they're transparent. And then so the light shade color would also be prominent on the eyelid. Get that side highlight near the corners of the eyes. They're always a bit lighter, always a bit, salty looking. Soften the bridge of the nose because I'm close enough. Softening the bridge of the nose, how would you do it? Drop tool right in between. Where the light meets the dark, right in between. Expand your brush and just stroke gently. See? Nose is soft. Haha. It's magic. Nope. It's not magic. It's science. Wasn't that in Bill Nye the Science Guy? Sorry, I'll be quiet. Alright, and then I go in and again with the basic principal structure, which is right under the eye socket, where the lids of the eye hug the eyeball, where they caress the eyeball. So always remember to establish the basic shapes first, and remember how they're working. Remember what they're on. Get a little bit more shadow. This is an outside of the palette color that I just chose because it's more of a makeup-ish look she's having right now. So I don't mind putting in a new color. I don't mind introducing a new color into her eyes. Just her eyes though, nowhere else in the shape, nowhere else in the body and in the face. So I have these nice little bags highlighted. Sharpen them out. Don't make everything look round. Make sure that some things are just sharp, and in their sharpness, they're beautiful. They don't need that much darkness. Then take another basic shape of the eye, which is right over the eyelid, and just sharpen that out, even it out. Keep looking on both. Don't just work on one eye and then go on the next one. Never do that. Work on both at the same time. You know, you're picking up on your mistakes. You're making sure you're not neglecting one eye, one thing, one detail. You make sure you're covering both. That way you keep it consistent and fast. You learn to paint faster because you know your strokes are precise. So you're not dilly-dallying around a shape without diving in there and getting it done. Okay, a little bit of shadow here. And then with the eyebrows, I like how they look right now, but I'm just going to do a bit of detailing. Get a hairish looking thingy-wingy brush, decrease the opacity, and get the light and stroke it down into the hairline. Get it? So it looks like the hair is contoured. That's a really good trick that I learned. Drop tool the light on top of the eyebrows and just stroke them downward. They start to look like real eyebrow lighting. See? Do that, you know, everywhere. Not everywhere. There's just delicate places where you see beautiful brow lines. I'm very passionate about a human face. The brow lines are, you know, the beautiful strokes. It looks like they're strokes, you know. The eyebrow hairs look like strokes on the face. So, and then get that same light color and just stroke it on top of the eyebrows. Because then the eyebrows also have lighting and shading and contours. And then get the shadow color and then stroke it on the eyebrows as well. Then you have a nice little edge of detail going on. You're already detailing, you're already good, you're zooming in. And then go back to your original brush and get back into your details on the eyes. So a little bit more shadow here because it's a kind of a tight nook or a tight little, never mind, I'll choose a color from the palette. A tight little nook area. So that area would be a little more dark. It's a tighter place, less light reaches it, so it's prone to more darkness. Usually this darkness here is the same as your nostril darkness. So remember, drop that tool and reinforce it. It's one of those important contour colors that you need to recreate. Remember, still, we do not have a supreme yellow and we do not have a supreme purple as the complementaries to recreate the realism. We still are working with a relatively plain palette. So it's just based on those three or those four main first colors: the light, the shadow, the under light red, and the under dark red. Sorry. Right now I'm dabbing. I got a new dark color and I'm just dabbing it in. This is outside of the palette. I'm just going darker because now I realize that the dark I chose here is not dark enough for me. I need to go darker. Whoops. Okay. Now what I usually do is have fun with the tools. I like the burn tool, especially for the eyes, because it maintains the red, and it works in a way to darken it, but by maintaining the red as well. So I do that. See, the house I've created for the iris is already coming out. I can welcome in the irises, or whatever they're called, soon. I can welcome them in soon. So remember, I use the dodge here, here, and here because these three areas need red, but they also need to stay dark. They're really holding the picture together. And then right on the nose to darken the nostrils, but keep it nice and pinkish and, you know, touched by cold. And I use it on this. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 areas of the face need to always be the sharpest and most detailed. They keep the face together. They keep it working. I love the dodge tool because it gets things red where I want them to be. You know, it gets them nice and rosy looking. The nose, the lips. Darken that a bit. Get that nice peachy color and lay it on top. Just on the corners. I like, you know, keeping it a nice pinkish look. Get that under the shadow red too. And then blend it in with the light because this is just a basic standard beautiful face. This is how all beautiful faces are based off of. Just this you know, this specific grouping of features. Keep working at it. Get a nice, shading going on. Reinforce that. And when you flip it back, you don't want to keep it, you like it. And I can see I've already tilted because I've tilted my head. I tilt my head when I paint. So I'm just going to tilt it back until I see that it is almost symmetrical. And I like that. I like the asymmetry that's already there. I don't want to touch that too much. I don't want it to look robotic. I'm just going to sharpen the cheekbones and the jawbone. And now we put in the like the most fun and most beautiful part of a face. The what? The eyes. Okay, so this is how I do eyes. Eyes, because I want it to look very pretty. I want it very pretty, so I'm going to have like a contrast between dark and light. So I want the eyes to be a very light blue, shiny. Maybe the commissioner said she's an ice queen. Whatever it is, you're going to end up drawing. But I always do it on a new layer because I don't want to disrupt the house that I already created for the eyes. I want to put it on a new layer. Everything else is on a new layer. So this is the only time I put a new. Everything here is one layer. The red's on another layer. Everything is one layer. The eyes are the only thing I want them to, because they're a separate entity. They have their own, little world of rules. I'm gonna zoom out, not too much though, just to get a good vantage point, and I'm gonna draw the circular shape. This is just the shape. This is not painting. I'm not painting. And work with those shapes. Make sure they're pointed right. It's easy to make eyes look like they're zoned out, and they're separated. But eyes that are nicely close together seem like they're focused. Seem like they're focusing in on something. So when they're looking at the camera, looking at something here, I never make a perfectly circular eye. Or iris. It looks way too realistic for me. I like that little, that little space of realism, and that little touch of not realism. Not real. Okay, and then I draw the middle part of the eyes. Let me just deselect because it's not letting me paint. I don't know what those are called. The iris, I don't know what they're. So make sure they're even. Make sure that they're looking at something. They're not zoned away. They're not asymmetrical. They're even. And then under that layer, usually you can go ahead and do 2 layers. I just choose my eye and then I merge it down into 1 layer. But just to get my eye color out. And usually it's very light near the bottom, so I'll increase the saturation there. Pupil, thank you. Right now she looks a bit evil. But remember, the reason why people would tell you, oh, you have big eyes, isn't because the eye structure is the biggest part. It's because that little black thing here, I don't know what it's called, the pupil or the iris, this part is exceptionally large. When it's large, that's when your eyes look more childish or more, feminine or cute. Pupil, okay. Alright. Here we have, we've enlarged it to give it a little more amorous taste, a little more appealing structure. So you see the shadow here that's creating this little shadow, not here or here, just here. This is how I'm going to shade the eye. The eye isn't shaded according to complementaries. It's shaded according to light and dark, protruding and reflecting through the shape of the layer, inside the eye. You're not going to shade the eye with the same color you shaded the skin. It's not. Maybe you want to keep it the same periphery of darkness, but you don't want to shade it with the skin color. It's not beige. It never will be beige. It's blue, unless it's got some hazels in there, and then maybe you can go ahead and use it. But as a general rule, don't do that. Okay, I'm going to merge that down so it's 1 layer, as you can see, so I can control it, so I can have some sort of control. And then I'm going to have fun again with the dodge tool, or not the dodge tool, not the burn tool, and get that lightness, get that lightness in there. Yeah, I should use the protect tones. Sometimes the dodge tool works differently if you click on the protect tones. I sometimes click on it because I don't want it to change the color. So right where the light would hit, I just put it there and go back. The pupil is always dark. It's always black. It always will be black unless you're going blind. So always make it the blackest in the picture. It's the blackest thing. Once that pupil is set, you know what is too dark and what is too light. I'll show you when I zoom out. When this is really dark, I'm starting to look at a black. Once I look at a black, you never go back. I'm joking. I couldn't resist. Once you look at a black, what's it called? You start to realize that everything isn't as dark as you thought it was, because now you have a black in there. Okay, and then not so much near where the light is. That that little cylindrical. See where it is. So now we have a nice pupil. I know it's overlapping the skin. That's what we're gonna delete later on. Okay. And because an eye is like this circle, and then you got the iris sticking out, the color isn't here. This is all flesh. The color is right here. It's just like a little, disc of color. And then you have this like infrastructure here that reflects off the light, so it passes through. And this is your cornea. Here you have a bunch of fluid to keep the eye moving, and then you have your that thing that these muscles inside that are connected that allow the eye to move this way or that way. So you have this little thing that sticks out. This is this right now. Okay, this part, this black part, is right here. It reflects, or right here, I forget, but it's just part of the color. Over here, this little area here and here, these little areas are where the color is. So if we have a color that is reflecting off this like mirror place, I forget what it's called, and it goes in and then it comes back out on an angle, because it's an angle thing. So if you're going to have light here, depending on where the light is, that light is going to reflect up. So you're going to have a little bit of light touching the tops. Those whites that you see, sticking here and sticking here, and these other whites that make it look like she's crying, these whites are on the overlapping, what's it called? So you have it's on the fluid that's on the eye. So let's say these are the eyelids. These are the eyelids here, and she's closing, half closing her eyes, and then you have the tear ducts or whatever. These lights, they're not inside the eye. They're right on the flesh, that little membrane on top of the eye that is fluid, reflecting the light, because that's why it's always white and not what's it called? Not blue. Here the reflection is blue because it's inside the iris. But once I get in there and get my white and put a little bit of a white here and a little teeny weeny bit of a white here and a couple of white drops here, that's just the flesh. That's just the liquid on the eye, the moisture of the membrane. Okay, so we have our eye set out nicely. It's coming through. And what I do to keep the eye looking as dreamy as possible, I get the blur tool and I just blur it a little. That way I know what to sharpen and know what to keep blurred. It just keeps the eye looking very dreamy. And then I erase what I don't want. She looks a bit cold now. It's not so warm. As you can see that the contrast is working. The face is very warm. Very warm colors, very warm eyebrows. They're thick. They're not arched up like some mean lady. They're very what's it called? Just like very welcoming, and then you have the contrast, and you have a very beautiful personality going with this portraiture right now. I like the way this eye is not symmetrical to this. I like the half hooded eye, not like one eye is a little bit less visible than the other. I like that very much. I like creating that. So I'm just going to keep that, make this a little bit darker to welcome in the shadow, to welcome in the iris. Lazy eye, yeah. I like it. It's a very elegant, almost like it looks good on so many levels, and you can put it on so many character types, and it gives the eyes personality. Like, you know, when something isn't symmetrical, it's very appealing to the eye. Sharpen that a bit. Just a bit. Remember this, you know, this is going to get covered up. Get the soft tool again, this blur tool, blur that up a bit. I like blurring it in as if there's a layer of water over top that's blurring it, like she's halfway to crying. I like that very much. I like the way it looks. Sorry, it was old man cough. I'm just going to sharpen that up and then soften it again. Always remember there's a balance between softness and light. So when you're using the soft tool, remember that you're going to have to somewhere in there use the when you're using the blur tool, somewhere in there you're going to have to use the sharpen tool, or go in with your brush and sharpen, resharpen again. And then the burn tool, I like to just put that in there again, get that color back. And then I have a layer of white, the cornea color, you know, that white area in your eye. I need to get that, but because the eyes are blue, I want to make a little bit of an effect. So instead of making it perfectly gray-white, I want to make it a blue-gray-white. So right here, lay it on top. Just on top in a new layer. You're going to tell the difference when I zoom out. This eye is not symmetrical to this eye, so now it's revealed to me that, you know, there's some shadows aren't working because I introduced a new light. I usually don't put that on perfect. I put that on soft layer, soft light. Erase a bit. Okay, I'm just gonna get my darks. No, whoops. Get the dark and then lay it on top. This is a very basic face. I know it's very simple. It came out very simply, following a couple of rules, keeping your patience together, making sure you don't, just give up on it. It's really important to keep on your painting as long as possible. That way you learn to wait through it. You learn to wait through your painting. You don't give up. You don't say I've had enough of this. You don't say, let's just go on another painting. You stay, you stick with it. If you stick with your painting for as long as possible, the next painting you're going to stick with it longer. And that after that, until you get to a point where you can work hours and hours. And you don't feel like you're bored. You feel very entertained, because what you're doing is discovering a face. You're discovering a face. You're finding it, and the harder we work, the better faces we discover. The deeper we dig, the more gold we'll find, the more diamonds we'll find. So always take your time. Refine it. Don't be in a rush. The people are waiting, but they don't know they're waiting. So it's not a matter of someone waiting for you. If you have a commission, of course you have a deadline, and you don't take on a commission until you know that you can provide. So teach yourself how to spend that time, and the longer you spend on a painting, the more precise your brush strokes get, because you start to realize that 3 hours is really all you need. You don't need 8 hours. You don't need 10 hours. 3 hours sometimes is all you need, and that's my average on my paintings. 3 hours. 3 hours is good for me. Sorry about my voice. To make the eye look more dreamy, I usually erase the darks on the outside and then go in with the blur tool again. And now when you zoom out, you learn what you did. You realize what you did. She has a nice little arch in her eyebrow. She has a nice little darkness and a little half lazy eye. And then you go in there with your shadows. Because now I saw that this shadow here, that this black is too dark. Everything else is too light. So I'm just going to go in and reinforce the shadows, get the eyelids a little bit darker. Maybe she's wearing eyeliner. Make the eyeliner right close to the tops. Not here, just right here. Right under the water line. Make that a bit darker. No, you don't want to miss out on your beautiful values that you already said. I respect what it looks like right now, even though I'm going in with some darker colors. I respect it. I'm not going to go back on my work. You know, like, respect your hand strokes. Respect that you've made this and that you're going to keep it. Don't lose out and don't miss out on the values you established. Remember to reestablish them if you lose them with contouring. And then just the tips usually are a bit light. And there you have it, guys. It's a face. And you were there for every step I took in making it. So, like, you didn't, it's not a magical thing. I visited, the magical workshop of faces because I have, like, a membership. And then I just got in there and they showed me how to do it. No, this is just basic laws. These faces are all over. They're all around us. And all you have to do is just, remember your contours. Look at a face. Remember that it's made up of contours. It's not magic. It's not, maybe it is magic if you love it enough. It is magic to me, but I know that there's a set principle, set principle of physical laws that are working together to create that look. It's not it's not unachievable. It's perfectly achievable. As long as we have eyes and we have a brain, there's no difference between you and a professional. And you just have to remember. So now that I have my values and my contours set out very nicely, I like the face. I like how it's working. It looks a bit plastic to me, but I can fix that later by making it look a little more painterly. The iris, because I'm zoomed out, I have a good vantage point now. I know what's too big or too small. The iris seems a bit too small. Just go there. Pupil seems a bit too small. So I'm just going to enlarge it, darken it a bit. The shading of the eyeball underneath is not dark enough. There should be a layer of shade right there, like a little bit of a hood. Erase some of that white that I put, that blue, white, gray. Make her eye a little bit more mysterious. There's shading in this area too. Remember, it's an eyeball, so it's shaded, and these are just hoods, so separate the eyeball from the hood. These little details are just, they make the difference in the end. So take your time, find them, find where you need to put them, and put them there. Is everybody good? Anybody have any questions? Sorry if my voice seems a bit monotone. Just use the dodge tool to give it a little more of a beautiful effect, a little bit more dynamic. Go back to the irises, give them that little shine, and then on another layer, do that moisture color that is usually about white based, and just put it in there. It usually contours around the iris that sticks out. And it's usually a little bit blurred. So get your smudge tool, a little bit smudged, a little bit dynamic. Full. Control yourself. Bobby pants. Okay, I'm sorry. No love in the workplace. Alright. And smudge tool. Smudge it out a bit. Recreate the tears here. You'd have a little bit more tears. You have a tear line moving here. That looks a little bit more, dreamy. And this is just where I'm going with this, maybe you don't have to draw. Why? What happened? What happened? Why are you mad? So as you see, I'm creating the contour of the eyeball, the glassy look. Not fully glassy, because remember it's flesh, but just that glassy look. And there you have it. She looks like she's squinting at you. She loves you. She wants to marry you. And that's how you appeal to your audience. Just using the dodge tool now. I mean burn. You know, just get a bit of a new shadow color going on. Contour around the eyebrows. Eyebrows and forehead you can zoom out. You don't need to be zooming that in because they're large spaces. Large pieces of get your dodge. And then I go in with the levels again. What happened? What's so horrible that happened? God forbid it's anything like... I decreased the opacity in this. Is he at work? Is that why he told you? Did he tell you over the phone? That is horrible. I hope nothing happened. Oh. Ugh, texting. I hate texting. So, I missed out. So sorry. I just have to keep going. He's texting me at work. Something with work. Oh, I hope nothing happened. I'm sorry. I lost a little bit of the brush strokes, so I'm just gonna go dab in some little lines. She looks a bit tired now, so I'm just gonna go dab in near the cheekbones, near you know, just get a bit of texture going. It looks too smooth. Get that peachy color again. Replace it. Get that light color. Maybe her face is a bit shiny. Lay it on the nose and between the eyebrows, a bit smaller brush. Lay it on the eyelashes. Eyelids. Over here. And you're done your face, bros. And this is... Oh, I'm so sorry, Kissy. I hope everything is okay. So everybody are you good, you know? Is everything okay? Like, with everything that I showed you. I'm sorry. So as you can see, light source color is based off a yellow. So it's a bit of a yellow-orange. It lost its yellowness, but it's based off a yellowish peachy orange right here on the top. So the opposite of that would be a blue-purple, which we already have. So we'll make a new layer. Go on your shadows with the purple and press it in. Press it in on a soft light. Not soft, maybe soft light, yeah. And just go in with your brush and just lay that purple on top. That purple is the opposite of the yellow that you used in your light. So the shadow should have the opposite of yellow because it's not in the light. So now you have a, you know, a nice darkness to it. Just want to try other layers, see what they do. And she's a bit dark right now, like she looks a bit dark with this. So, not sure I want to make her that dark. Such nice, you know, effects going on. Like this one. I like this one. I'll just put it on normal. Normal. You know, a little bit of that. Maybe increase the lightness and the saturation. Not that much. And then look at the difference. It's a nice little effect. erase the bleed. So you can keep it sharp and contained. Right now you're at a very contained place, so don't be too rough at this stage. This stage is pretty, you know, deep in. The lights here, because I don't know where the hair is going to be, so I'm going to leave this area and this area a little bit dark. And I'm going to leave them where they're at. So is everybody good? Fufu, do you have any questions? I kind of just like discovered what I want to do with it because of that little effect. So I'm just gonna lighten the background, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a furry jacket snow queen because her eyes are a bit nice and glossy. Maybe that layer with the, I want to make that a little bit more realistic, visible. I want to see what it can do for me. Yeah, I like that one. Okay. Make it a little bit lighter. I need to re-show that waterline. I don't want to lose it. Maybe I want to redraw it as well. So we'll go in with the palette. Find it again. Go back to her face and redraw that pretty waterline. A little bit of it shows, you know, under. Right here, and a little bit right here, a little bit of shadow here. That also has a little bit of contours. And a nice little zoom out. Remove the, oh dear, okay, kind of mix that in. Merge down, lasso. Okay. So remember these contours? These contours led us here. They're a bit off, tilted off, but that's where we started. And gonna go in with that brush and get that nice bluish white to complement the eyes. Increase my opacity a bit. Draw a nice furry overlay. No, it's okay. Kissy, we're here. Okay. Okay, I like where this is going, how it looks. Fur still has shadows in it. I don't want to miss too much out of the texture, so I'm just going to erase a little bit, play around with it, make it look like fur. It looks a bit too clean for my taste. I usually don't clean things up this much. But there it is. Go with the, make it a little bit whiter. Don't protect the tones. I hope it's nothing. I hope it's just, you know, something very easy. I hope he's just overdoing it. Then you have a right to rant on him later. If I want to make it completely white. No, it's too white. Something has mommed it. And that's pretty much it for, where this is going. We chose our face, we chose our light. Because she's a bit of an ice queen, I would go back to the skin and I'd find a light blue. I'd go with my soft brush. I'd go on really low opacity and I'd find a nice light blue to lay on her skin, just to give it that touch of coldness, and to complement the eyes. So decrease the opacity and just lay it on. It makes the skin look a bit more cold. And maybe put another layer on top with a very, very, very neon, not a neon pink, but a more of a false pink, and just lay it on top, just to give that wintry look. So you see, it's just about remembering your tone, where you're working with, the atmosphere, making sure you're consistent with the situation. And without this layer, she looks, she's back to being warm looking. But with them on, she's part of her environment. Do you understand? Yeah, polar bears, and then you go, you play with your details. Her mouth isn't open. I guess it wouldn't really show on top of the white I already had. In the background color, maybe I would change that. Whoa, it looks like I erased a whole chunk off her forehead. And that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was from the beginning, like, you guys saw how my process was. You understand that it's just about remembering your contours going in, knowing what kind of face you want to draw, sticking to it. I'm not sure if I want to take this to that level of detail yet, but it seems a bit finished to me. It's just any random face I would draw, so I don't have much of a place to go with it. I would play with the levels a little bit more. I'd make it less warm because she's in a very very cold environment, so I would decrease the saturation on her face. Okay, and then go to the levels, make them a bit darker, and decrease the saturation again, just to give that nice look. Tilt these to the greens a little bit, that's just too much. Yeah, I like the reds in there. Maybe tilt it once, and then go the layers, levels, and then it'll bring back the reds. Yep, perfect. And then decrease the saturation one more time. And now she looks a little bit more like she's cold. Could you actually create tears I'm curious because it's something I've not seen anyone do, the process I mean. Okay, so tears are, let me just take off her hood. See her face is a bit wide? I want to keep it that way, so I know what I'm doing. I know that, the hair might cover it. I know that, the chin might be a little bit down, but I would go back. I would decrease the size of her, of her jawline, because it's all about where you want to put the hair and the neck. Remember that there's other anatomy involved. So tears are very easy. You choose the lightest layer. Tears come from a very see-through entity. They're water. So you choose they only reflect what's around them. So tears, to keep tears looking as real as possible, choose a light that is found on the face, and just draw a pretty tears doesn't fall like that. If tears fall this way, tears don't fall like that. A pretty transparent, trail. Remember the contours, so the hair moves, the trail of water moves with the face shape. Just to even it out. Maybe I don't like that. And then what you do is you play with the thickness of the sharp edge of the tear. So because you use the soft brush, you should erase with a sharper brush. So go with a really sharp brush, erase the edges. Remember to maintain that transparency. I hate my tablet sometimes. Just sharpen out the sides, because it's a trail, it's a down moving. It gets thinner near the top, because remember it left a trail, so it's less visible and thinner near the top unless there's more tears coming down. And you know that there's a little tear drop shape near the bottom. And then what you do, you go with the same soft brush, and wherever the light would hit, recreate like a little bit of a light, a lightness. Increase the light on the sides. So there's light here, it would hit here. There's a lot of light here. Highlight it. You don't create a shadow. You never go in with a black. The way to create the shadow where light doesn't hit is to make it transparent. So highlight the edges. It's just light. How would you draw water? How does water work with light? So that's how you know. It's a very transparent layer. It looks a bit unrealistic here because I'm not erasing with a soft brush. But and it's not contoured well. It's not fitting in. Just trying to get it to fit in. Yeah. And there's just a simple structure of tears. Go in there with some details. If there's light, if there's beads under there, they should reflect too. It's just how would you create a water drop? Same way, but extend the water drop downward. Now how would that water drop keep working? So create a water drop is transparent layer, white, transparent layer. It's not working. Oh, right. Transparent layer of white. Let me decrease the opacity. Sharpen it by sharpening the edges. Erase. Let me get a soft brush eraser. Can't keep doing that. Erase like one section of it, because that's the contour, and then just draw the highlight. That's like a water drop. And then it goes a little bit like of a line. That's like a water drop right there. Extend that downward. So let's literally extend it. Let's stretch it. That's like water. That's like a stretched out version. How about blood? Blood is the same thing. Let me just open one of my other paintings to show you how I did the blood. Henshin Kochu. Okay, I'm good here. I'm good with this. Okay, let it open. Alright, the blood I did for this picture is just same thing. Light and shadow. I had a light blood color, a darkness color. I had the levels decreased to blacks because I just kept zooming out so I can see. But I don't think I would have figured it out on my own. This is much, much easier than I thought it was. Yeah, it is because it's just you're working with lights and you're working with a transparent image. So how would you work with transparent water? Just keeping it transparent. It's just, you know, a stretched piece of water that reflects the lights around us. The easiest way to achieve that is keeping the layer transparent or the brush transparent. You don't have to go in there. It's a relatively small section of the face. You don't have to go in there reflecting actual pieces of color. But it's just about, you know, putting in that sharp little shine because water attracts light really well and it keeps it sharp when it reflects it backward. So just reflect the dews. Same thing with the blood. Just, you know, a couple of dots of white, you know, to reflect it, and you're good. Any liquid reflects white back very well. It doesn't keep the white in. It gives it back. Any liquid does that, even if it's as thick as blood. If you look at it, you know, a drop of blood. Some blood, the drop is pinkish, you know, because that's the light color. But then you have the white on top of it just to get it to be so light. So that's pretty much it. It's really, really basic. It's not that complicated. It's a very basic system. So there's that little drop, and then just it's not sharp enough. Let me just make it more sharp. Actually, let me just use the lasso. Select inverse, erase, 100%. Okay, deselect, and just soften it out. Where's the soft blur tool? Right there. I keep thinking of Paint Shop Pro. I used Paint Shop Pro for a very long time. And that's it. It's very simple, and tears shouldn't take up too much of the space. They're not that detailed. They're not that you know, detail oriented. They're just, you know, as pretty general a shape as it can get. I'm gonna see what happens if it's all white. G. Deselect. I like that. I like how it looks. Any other questions? Let me just put in those tears. You guys like sad people. You guys are mean. I'm gonna make everybody cry. I don't want her to cry. She's pretty content with her life. Yeah, so what my problems, if I were to critique myself, it looks too sharp, too crispy, it doesn't look realistic, there's no texture going on. How I would change that, I found a little bit of a cheat. You go to filter, go to artistic, and then you go to palette knife. Then you can choose how painterly the picture is going to look. So you can increase the stroke size, stroke detail, and stroke softness, and then it looks so much more painterly. It has a little bit of a texture feel. So see, everything right now is a bit more textured. Tones are preserved. Values are preserved. It just looks more painted. Looks like it's been painted. I would do the same thing for the eyes. Just merge that layer down. I don't like having too many layers. Okay, filter, artistic, palette knife, and now it looks a bit more painterly. the tone changed because it merged them together. So green looks pretty cool, but I like the blue. I very much like the blue. Soften that out. I'm using my mouse, I'm so lazy. And zoom out. I like the sharp. Yeah, sharp looks good, but sometimes it looks a bit too crispy for me. Okay, if anybody has any, maybe we can cut this class short. If anybody has anything for me to critique, I have the time for it, so you can just email me anything you want. So we can do that, and the class can be nicely finalized with some of your work. I don't want it to be like all about what I painted from the very start. Yeah, because you always give me such nice work to work with. And let me just play with that. Like, okay, so save and close. I'll put up the link. Hey Dan, you're a bit late, but it's okay. It'll be recorded. Do you have any links you'd like to show, by the way, you guys? You know, your galleries, link everybody your galleries so you can keep our community up, keep our links up, and keep ourselves together with each other and all that happy stuff. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. Very beautiful. Okay. So let me just download it. Save image URL. Okay. Alright, so this is Casey's work. I'm still learning and just started DA. It's okay. Everybody here is still learning. We're always still learning. Do you have anything you would like me to critique, Danielle? Maybe something from your gallery? No thanks? Okay. You have a beautiful gallery though. It's a very nice sketch of a woman. Very nice. Very controlled. Nice strokes. Okay. No problem. Is it Danielle or Dan? Alright then, so Casey's picture. I'm gonna rotate it so I can see it from the top down. Because I set everything according to image rotation. Okay, fail. Image rotation, 90 degrees, counterclockwise. Okay. Whoops. I'm such a dumbass. Okay, sorry. Dan. Alright then. Alright, so we have her... My god, I could have just used the rotation tool. Istebrak. I'm just gonna force myself to use it. Okay. Alright then. So you have a nice palette. Colors are very, very controlled. You have a beautiful little fish here. The fish seems a bit tilted, but it could be just movement. You have an upside down fish here that doesn't match. The angle in which we see the fish is wrong, unless the fish is dying and it's laying on its side. It looks like sorry about my voice. It looks a bit it's like everything is coming where the angle is on this side. And let me just use a really neon color so you can see. Alright, everything is on this side. What a nice color. Blue is awesome. So we see the sides from this, you know, this. And then we see this. this isn't the right side. It's supposed to be on this because everything is on tilting towards the right. So we're looking at her from that angle. So you just have to remember that that's the angle that the picture is working with. It's on like a focal points are moving this way. Everything, the direction is moving this way. So the fish would be a little more tilted to the side. Maybe you want to the fish here. Maybe you want to tilt the image of the fish and make it just, you know, stand in that way. Here we go. Sorry you guys, my controls are a bit out of control. Okay, so the fish would be just fixed right over there. This fish is pretty good. The colors seem good. Messy is good. Messy is realistic. She looks like she's in a swamp. She looks like she's in a place that's messy. I think this is one of your best ones. You've really kept her face. It looks very soft. Looks like it hasn't been touched by the water, but the water layer, I see you put a layer of dewdrops right over her dress. That looks very well. Just remember that dewdrops aren't like universally laid out as that way. So you have like a nice layer of transparent lily pads, but they're not really working because they're transparent. So, like, you know, choose where you want them to go. Do you want them to be completely invisible or not? Or you want them to be, you know, to erase them a bit. You want to erase them just a bit so that, you know, they look like the dewdrops are on her body instead of on the lily pads. So just like, you know, erase that lily pad area and just keep the dewdrops because they're working on the body very nicely. As if her dress is a little more like water, can hold a lot of water. So you get that effect. And then just recreate the hair because hair doesn't do up like that. And it kind of loses its texture. I think you thought it was messy because your tones tend to mix together too much. You have a little bit of a mix here. They blend together a little bit too much, so you might want to you know, just make sure that things keep up their colors, keep up their values and their tones. Like the hair, for instance, just doesn't turn purple just downward. It just stays a little bit more black. That way it looks neater. Do you understand? That's why I thought it would look messy. Over here, I think it would be a little more darker. So a simple step like working with your dodge tool, burn tool, would get you that effect very nicely. Just keeping it dark as if her hair is downward and it is creating a shadow underneath the water because the water is reflecting it. It's beautiful. I have nothing else to really add to it. It's very well balanced. Maybe that is a bit too dark. It's very well balanced. It's working good. With the other colors, it's very unified. You have like the orange here, but it's nice because it reinforces the orange in her cheeks. That orange seems to be a bit off. She seems to like it seems like you cut off the head and put it in there, but it doesn't because you have the orange here re-established. Maybe you would want to add a little bit of orange like that to the thighs to make them more alive. So a little bit of orange here, and a little bit on her hands. She is dead looking. She's supposed to be like, you know, drowning, but you know, recently drowning kind of an effect. Maybe just decrease the oranges on the face a bit, make them just a bit more purple, because that purple is beautiful. It's in unison and it seems to be interrupted when it comes to the face. You don't want the face to look like it's been cut out. So, you know, those lights here. And that's it. It's a very beautiful piece. I have nothing really to say about it. Other than that, like, you know, like that simple stuff, like the angle of the fish and stuff. That's it. Okie dokie. Thanks for coming, everyone. Yeah, the lighting is very good. Very good. Very good job. Anybody else have anything? It'll just be the end of the class for now until next time, which is Tuesday. Oh my gosh, it's Thursday, yay. Here comes the weekend. Anybody have anything else? Thanks for coming though, Danielle. It's very nice to see you here. Dan. Not really? Where? Where does not have? No problem. Try to come earlier next time. Maybe you can catch a little thing or two. But it is recorded for your benefit. So I hope it's not boring. I'm sorry if my voice is a bit monotone. It's kind of getting at I'm losing it because I've been having a cold. You emailed it? Okay, let me check. Yep, I have it. Download. Un momento. Okay, so this is very beautiful. Alright, so I'm just gonna go over how to get rid of the whites on your sketches. So play with the brightness contrast to get those shadows out of the way from the scan. Increase the brightness, decrease the contrast a little bit until you get what you need. Increase the contrast. Go in with your dodge tool. Dodge is very good for moving whites but not deleting them. Not deleting the canvas. So see, that gets you a nice, but it doesn't delete the lines around it because it's very picky. It's a very smart tool. It works just to increase the saturation and the lighting of something in that area. So just decrease that a bit to get some of the lines a little more. Too much. I'll just leave that. Alright. I don't know why I thought you were going to do faces today. Kids you whiz. Okay. So I'm just going to decrease the saturation so that it goes down to a gray instead of a green. And then I'm going to take out the whites by clicking on the Alt tool, to the Control tool. Clicking on the channels, clicking on red, green, blue, and RGB, and pressing delete. Oh wait, I haven't unlocked the layer. Okay, delete. Deselect. Putting that. Drop the white or the gray, go up here and decrease your levels so that you get it back. And there you go. Now the lines are separate from the background. Alright, so what we're looking at here is just basically asymmetry. You look here, you see it's very asymmetrical. Filter, liquify, just to show you, things like fixing it like this, keeping things a bit more symmetrical. Very beautiful face. She does have a little bit of an old look. I think that's what you were talking about. The nose bridge, again, not fully. You always do the same, the same extended nose bridge. It is triangle based, but it's not in the triangle shape. Noses are a bit more linear, but they do hold some sort of triangular balance. Other than that, bone structure, neck structure, a hair, very beautiful, and the chin, very beautiful. So just it's just a comparison of just tilted proportions, little small details you can get by just sticking your paper in front of the light right in front of you, raising your paper up on the light, then you have a mirrored reflection, or putting the picture right beside a mirror. Those are two ways to see it on flip. Pick up the picture, put it up against the light in your room, then you find all the errors for sketches. And for painting on the screen, put it right beside a mirror. Did you get that, Not? When you sketch, you can draw the lines, but just when you paint, you just have to. So you got it. You pick up your painting, your drawing, and just a single paper, raise it up against the light on the ceiling or any other light source in your room, a lamp or anything. Put it up against it by flipping it. Flip it backwards. Did you get that? Flipping it backwards against the light. So the back of the drawing is looking towards you. That way, the light shines through and you see a reflected image, and that's your reflection. And then you see all these mistakes without having to flip it or scan it and then flip it. So that's just a reflect. All we did right now is just flipped it horizontally and just found those little mistakes, and that's it. Very good drawing. I'm gonna save it. I might paint over it. Everybody good? Thanks everybody for coming. I'm sorry my voice is monotone. I'm gonna try to make it more interesting. Take how to make your voice interesting classes. And thanks everyone. Bye. I'm gonna keep it saved so that you could go back to it if you need any recap. I did not recap on the previous classes, but everything we did today was just a reiteration of before. Making sure you have your colors, your original wash, your base colors, your lighting, your contours. Remembering to reestablish your contours through lighting and shading. Remembering your primaries to make the picture pop out. Remember the greens in opposition to the reds, and the yellows in opposition to the blues, or the purples in opposition to the blues. Oranges versus blue. Everything else, is based on practice and patience. Keep your patience level up so that you can work as much as possible. Being patient and spending more time on your painting will teach you how to spend less time on your painting, and will teach you how to be more efficient. Your brush strokes will be very concentrated and very mediated, and you won't lose time. If you have a commission or anything, if you have contours, remember the contours and the grid lines that are on the face. They help you recreate the face into different personalities, create different features: larger nose, smaller nose, protruding jaw. Practice with your sketches how to make different kinds of faces. When you see a person on the screen or see drawings, get that painting or get that photograph and just draw the grid lines, or imagine the grid lines on people in front of you on the bus or on the train. It really helps you to remember that everything is based on geometric shapes and scientific laws of color and arrangement and such. And that's it. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye.